first video on this channel, I talked about what would be a great first camera for people that are interested in just starting this hobby or making the move from digital photography. I talked about the simple, minimalistic SLRs that are still attainable from $100 and up, and also allow you to really focus and force you to make the decisions that help you learn the fundamentals of film photography or photography in general. And that inspired me to think about what would not be a great first choice and why. A lot of good photographers with a really big following, and they've inspired a lot of people, use rangefinder cameras. And I figured that might not be a good first choice. So I wanted to just explain a little bit about why, in my opinion, a rangefinder might be a little bit challenging to get into. So I grabbed a roll of Ilford HP5 Plus and I put it in my rangefinder, the one that's with me everywhere I go, even if I don't plan on capturing or shooting anything. My Leica M6, arguably one of the most famous rangefinders, and I went out and shot something local. Let's talk about entry-level rangefinder cameras and get that out of the way. While they might catch your eye as a beginner-friendly option, there are some aspects to consider. One of the notable limitations is that fixed lens. Photography is a journey of exploration, and having the freedom to experiment with various focal lengths and compositions is really important for growth. And unfortunately, fixed lenses can somewhat restrict your creative potential as a new photographer. So in this video, when I talk about rangefinder cameras, I'm really referring to what's considered professional or prosumer level cameras. Now, stepping into the realm of high-end rangefinder cameras, you encounter a different set of challenges. Yes, these cameras boast exceptional craftsmanship and optics, but they also come with a price tag that can be quite the hurdle for someone just starting out. Why would cost make it not an ideal camera? To most people, they're gonna buy a body and a lens. When you are just getting into this hobby, maximizing on equipment, like if you get into an SLR and you're able to grab maybe 2 lenses for it and still be under $200, $300, $400, that's a big benefit when it comes to learning composition. Now you're not forced to just kind of live within that one style of shooting and really figure out what works for you. And speaking of hurdles, manual focusing becomes a significant factor. Rangefinders demand a higher level of skill to nail the precise focus you need compared to the ease and simplicity of SLR cameras of the time. Something about like focusing a rangefinder is a little bit confusing to people at first and takes some time getting used to. And I think you are much likely to understand it once you've learned how to focus a traditional SLR. It just kind of clicks better. Every time I handed somebody a rangefinder that's never used a manual camera before or a manual focusing camera before, and I explained to them how to use it, they couldn't focus it. Every time I handed somebody a traditional SLR with manual focus and I explained to them how to focus it, they got it and they were able to get images relatively in focus. And finally, one thing that catches beginners off guard and the main difference between traditional SLR cameras and rangefinders is composition. Rangefinder cameras have viewfinders that show you a slightly different perspective from what the lens actually captures. What you're seeing through the viewfinder is not exactly the same image that you're gonna be exposing. This is called parallax error, and it can lead to confusion and requires some time to get used to. It's like seeing the world from a different angle through the viewfinder, and adjusting your composition accordingly can be a bit tricky. There are so many times that I've taken pictures of things and found out later that there are other elements in the frame that I just did not expect. Remember, the camera that suits you best is the one that encourages you to explore, experiment, and most importantly, have fun while you learn. So that's really it. I think if you're somebody that likes to collect things and you are motivated by being able to use the same equipment as the people that inspire you, then by all means, go for it. At the end of the day, you're gonna get it. If you're somebody that kind of needs these stepping stones to kind of really understand fundamentals of something and you respect slower process and that works better for you and that's ultimately going to give you the results that you want, go for a simpler camera and go for more equipment for the same price. If you liked this video and last week's video, please like and subscribe. That motivates me to go out and do more videos. Or if you'd like to have me elaborate a little bit more on something that I've talked about, or if there's another camera that you want me to talk about, I might have access to it, so just let me know. Yeah, see you all next week.